As cardinals from around the world prepare to enter the Sistine Chapel, clad in scarlet robes, we once again enter the hallowed interval in which the world watches the Sistine Chapel chimney for a puff of white smoke. The conclave, the locked under key, that secretive and sacred process for electing the next pope begins very shortly, and it's a rite suffused with mystery, tradition, and increased global fascination. And if Netflix has its way, a fair amount of cinematic suspense. But begin with a dose of reality. Tomorrow, the conclave, when it starts, in the past, they've lasted several weeks, even months. And the word conclave itself, meaning key, meaning locked in with a key, reflects the tradition of locking cardinals away until a decision is reached. The longest conclave in modern history, that would be in 1830 with to 1831, which lasted 50 days. The longest in all history stretched over 2 years, from 1268 to 1271, where the cardinals eventually starved into a decision by the exasperated people of Viterbo, who removed the roof of the hall to expose them to the elements. There we are. All right. But modernity, for all its flaws, has accelerated this ancient process. The last three conclaves, and you wouldn't have realised this watching the film Conclave, those that elected John Paul I, John Paul II, Pope Francis, and Benedict, actually, the last four, all took less than 36 hours. Pope Francis was elected on the fifth ballot over 2 days in 2013. That's scarcely enough time to unpack a cassock. And this speed reflects not only better preparation and global communication, but also a shift in church governance, papal resignations, strategic retirements, the expansion of the cardinalate beyond Europe that has professionalised the process. Today, 133 cardinal electors will lodge in the Casa Santa Marte, this 129-room Vatican guest house constructed in 1996. 129 rooms, 133 cardinals. That doesn't quite work, does it? It's an ecclesiastical boarding school of sorts, complete with confessors, cooks, and strict Wi-Fi blackouts. Secrecy is paramount. No smartphones, no texts, no leaking. The cardinals walk each morning past St. Peter's to the Sistine Chapel in silence, with the frescoes of Michelangelo's Last Judgment looming behind them as they cast their votes. Yet, this austerity stands in peculiar contrast to the world outside, a world of clickbait headlines, AI-generated speculation, and the political factionism disguised as theology. We've all seen it dramatised, cardinals whispering in corners, deals struck in Latin, intrigue in cassocks, and the film Conclave, based on the brilliant Robert Harris thriller, imagines a Vatican full of secrets, heresies, and modern dilemmas. But real conclaves are, if not less dramatic, then certainly more constrained. The only words allowed in the Sistine Chapel after extra omnes, everyone out, are prayers, oaths, and the ballots themselves. Still, the line between reality and performance is thinner than ever. This is the first clickbait conclave, one that will be filtered, dissected, and memed in real time, despite the cardinal's silence. The stakes, however, are not fictional. The Catholic Church, led by the Pope, influences 1.4 billion people. Its teaching still shapes moral and legal frameworks across continents, from the ethics of life and death to the role of the family to the limits of individual autonomy. Pope Francis, the Church's first digital pope, leaned into the globalized age. He reshaped the College of Cardinals, prioritizing the periphery, bishops from Mongolia, Mauritius, and beyond. That's why only 12% of today's electors are Italian compared to 90% of the 19th century, and yet it looks very possible that the next pope will be Italian, even if this election seems wide open. Among the papabile are Cardinal Pietro Parolin, the Vatican's diplomatic statesman, Cardinal Matteo Zuppi, the peace negotiator and favourite of young London Roman parishioners, Cardinal Pier Battista Pizzaballa, the Patriarch of Jerusalem, whose name alone sounds divinely stage-managed for the job. They're all Italians, but what matters most is the direction of the Church. Will the next Pope continue Francis's emphasis on dialogue, decentralization and engagement with the modern world, or will he steer towards doctrinal orthodoxy, reaffirming Catholic positions on gender, sexuality, bioethics in defiance of modern of liberal modernity. Even those who roll their eyes at Catholic doctrine are paying attention. Why? Because in a world flattened by algorithmic consensus, the Catholic Church remains one of the few institutions willing to challenge the prevailing cultural orthodoxy. Whether one agrees or not, its refusal to conform makes it interesting. You may not care who the next pope is, but you may care whether the next pontiff embraces or resists the ideological trends shaping your children's school, your hospital policies, or the legal definition of family. And young people disenchanted with the atomized digital life are turning almost paradoxically towards tradition, towards churches, rituals, and communal faith. So, as the cardinals file tomorrow into the Sistine Chapel and the chimney gets ready for its moment of global theatre, let's remember, this isn't just incense and Latin. It's politics, it's theology, it's culture, it's history being written in scarlet robes beneath Michelangelo's vault in the heart of Rome, and this time the whole world is watching, not just for the white smoke, for which direction the wind will blow.